So I'm going to get right to it. I have got our 4th District Congressman Desjardins on the phone. How are you, sir?
I am doing great. I really appreciate the opportunity to be on your show. And we're up in D.C., just came out of an agriculture meeting talking about SNAP reform. So we've already got the day off to an exciting start.
Well, it's, we haven't talked since election, and I know it's been a crazy 100 days, to say the least.
Very lively.
But the deportation thing is hot, and a few other things. What's it like up there right now?
It's something new every day. You just stay buckled up because you never know what's coming. We all know President Trump kind of shoots from the hip, and so it's never dull, but things are happening. People obviously were ready for a change from the prior administration, and we're hearing the media come out saying how they somehow missed Biden's mental decline, and we all kind of have known for quite some time that those policies were not driven by the actual president, but by his handlers, and so we have a big mess we're trying to clean up, and one of them being the open border. I mean, that was by design. The border was wide open, 20-plus million. We don't really have an accurate count because of gotaways, and it's the gotaways that scare me because the ones that are turning themselves in are getting all the benefits that went along with the Biden package, whether it be health care, education, cell phones, food, stays in nice hotels until they can find accommodations, just a lot of things that the average American doesn't have. And so people were very frustrated with that. They asked Trump to clean it up. It's just like flipping a light switch. He came in, the border without any new walls or really, a whole lot of National Guard or anything else. Just told people, if you come here, you're going to be sent home. So they quit coming, and now he's sending them home. And the Democrats have glommed onto this one guy from Maryland as their poster child for a single mistake that may or may not have been made. But we know that this guy in Maryland was actually arrested in Tennessee driving a car that was full of human traffickers. So probably not the poster child they should have glommed onto. But the bottom line is President Trump has fulfilled a promise. Yesterday, I don't mean to filibuster you, but yesterday they were all over his first 100 days and all his failures. But it reminded me of in 2017, ISIS was a huge problem in the Middle East, one of our biggest threats to national security. Within months, you didn't hear about ISIS anymore. He cleaned that up instantly, and they moved on to complain about his other things. In this case, he's basically shut down the border, and now he's getting rid of the bad guys as he promised, and they're still finding a reason to complain and talk about how he's such a failure.
I can't even imagine someone being against all that.
Yeah, when we're all struggling, the economy is not just tough in America. I've been to several countries related to my armed services commitments, and as I visit those countries, we talk to their chambers, and the economies in South America, for example, Argentina, Chile, Colombia, or you can go over to Indo-PACOM, whether it's Vietnam, Japan. Everyone's having a tough time with their economies, probably worse than it is here in the U.S., and people also voted Trump in to fix the economy, and that's not something that happens overnight. Anyone who's gone into debt over their head, got overextended credit card debt, big mortgage, car payment, sometimes you have to manage that, and it doesn't happen. You don't fix it overnight. You have to have a plan, and you work your way out of debt, and so that's what he's trying to do. But the media right now, it's shirts and skins. There's no middle road. If they're against Trump, everything he does is horrible. And to be fair, the right, everything he does is wonderful. The facts are usually somewhere in the middle, but I think the president's making an incredible effort to turn the ship around, and it's going to cause a little pain. But I'm more optimistic than I've ever been, Iva. It's just like I've been up here a bit, and I feel very positive that we can do great things for the country with President Trump at the helm.
Yeah, because, we've had these discussions over the years. As everyone knows, you were my first interview. It's been a tough time up there being under the gun of some of that craziness. And it seems, are the coalitions holding?
Well, we have trouble in our own conference. There's some people who don't get the concept of team, and I appreciate everyone's district is different. Ours is very conservative. I've been considered probably a hardcore and probably aggravated leadership a number of times over the years. But when you have a 3 or 4 vote majority, it's so important that we run the play that's called, and it may not be perfect, but I was elected in the 4th District by about the same margin as Trump. I think people are more concerned about Trump than me, and if I'm not supporting Trump's agenda, I would hope that they're upset with me. So, I tell some of the people that have been holdouts, I never voted for a CR, but I did this time, and the budget. We've got to do these things to get the president's agenda across the line. He's got 4 years, and honestly, I look at it this way: midterms are never usually good for the party in power. So what we get done between now and really like August recess could be 80% of what Trump gets done. Now, I think if we do the right thing, we get his tax cuts passed, we do the one big beautiful bill, and people start seeing the benefits, I think we'll fare fine in the midterms. And so, it's a matter of sticking together as a team, and keeping the coalition together has been in a large part due to Trump talking to individuals who have issues. And, it's not just the far right people. They can't get on board. The people in swing states, purple seats, swing states, they have issues too with their constituency, and you've got to have both to keep the majority. So keeping everybody in line and keeping everyone happy has certainly been a challenge, but so far we've been doing pretty well.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing. It's like herding cats sometimes with our folks. But that's great. That's why I'm a Republican. We all think differently. We all have different solutions to a problem. But you're right. I mean, we have got to be behind Trump agenda.
Yep.
All right. Well, that segues into tariffs and then your cool subcommittee chairmanship, which I'm dying to talk about.
Okay.
Tariffs, good or bad?
The art of the deal, that's Trump. He shoots from the hip. I hate to say he doesn't always say what he means, but he does that on purpose. Segue from what I was talking about, the world economy. Ours has been rough. People feel it. Other countries are much worse. So when Trump starts the tariff talks, and, I've talked to businesses. I was all over the district the last couple of weeks and talked to people, just individual companies that are impacted by tariffs in different ways. Some benefit from it. Some, have concerns about it. But it's kind of a game of who's going to blink first. And I know sometimes people get a little uneasy when tariffs are impacting the market, your 401ks, and rightfully so. But when I say the other countries are in worse shape, their concern about these tariffs is probably even greater than ours. And so countries like China, that is a major exporter of goods. You walk into Walmart, probably 90% of the things in Walmart come from China. And so their economy is struggling, and they've been doing a rapid military buildup over the last decade or so, as we all know, and they need money to do that. And so I think that the tariff plan is a negotiating tool by Trump to get a better deal for America. He obviously is focused on bringing manufacturing. I've seen all over the state of Tennessee, there's companies that are coming here. It's a work-friendly state, right-to-work state, no income tax. I think we're the number one importer of new residents and probably right up there on new businesses. So people are flocking to Tennessee because of the way we do business there. But that's what Trump wants. We want jobs for Americans. We want Americans to work. That strengthens Social Security, strengthens Medicare. You got to have more people pulling the wagon than sitting in it, and that's kind of been what the policy's been over the last, really a couple decades. And so getting people back to work, having good-paying jobs available, having America actually export goods instead of just import everything is Trump's vision, bringing pharmaceutical manufacturing back, auto manufacturing back. So I think tariffs are good right now because I think Trump has the upper hand. We're all a little nervous watching him, work his magic, but I think that in the end, he ends up with better deals for the U.S. and the other countries. I think China's ready to come to the table sooner than later. And, some of the big playing partners that haven't been treating the U.S. fair in terms of tariffs and trade are going to have to fall into line.
Well, I mean, he's been talking about it since the 80s, for Pete's sake.
Right.
All right. So that leads to, world security and how important it is that peace through strength is over here in America. Tell us about your subcommittee chairmanship.
Okay, well, Ronald Reagan lived this policy, peace through strength, and the GDP that we spent on defense under Reagan was 6%. Right now we're at 2.9. when Reagan was in office, what happened? The Soviet Union broke apart. I mean, we actually broke their back because we were focused on strength. We've lost that. We had wokeism, we had DEI, we had all the issues in the military that was hurting recruitment. And frankly, after the Soviet Union fell, we almost went into hibernation when it came to nuclear modernization and advanced weaponry because Russia was our biggest threat, and they were no longer our biggest threat. Well, in the meantime, China is going full steam ahead. They're not under the New START treaty, so they've been building their nuclear weapons. They've been advanced and probably ahead of everyone on hypersonic strike weapons, which are very dangerous because we can't really defend against them. And then they've been very active in space. So, I've been on armed services since 2017, and I've been on the Subcommittee of Strategic Forces, which to me is the most important committee maybe on the Hill, because people talk about how important the economy is, and I agree. We all care about the dollar. But if you don't have security and you don't have safety and you don't know whether your family is going to be safe at night, then the economy doesn't matter near as much. So I think national security and feeling safe and secure is probably the most important issue if you really just sit down and think about it. And so, this year I've been given the gavel for the Subcommittee on Strategic Forces, and the things we cover would be everything space, surveillance from space, satellites, all the new heavy launch rockets like Starship that deliver assets to space. I'm over all the nuclear modernization. We've got to replace the Minuteman III ground-based leg of the triad with the Sentinel program. So that would include like Oak Ridge, Y-12, Los Alamos, Pantex, all the companies that build nuclear plutonium pits to modernize our weapons. I deal with everything hypersonic defense. We deal with laser, left of launch issues. We deal with the Department of Energy. So it's a big umbrella. The Golden Dome would be under my committee's purview, how we're going to protect America and our assets. And, so it's a really exciting subcommittee, and some of the things that we do, in fact, most of the things we do are very classified and kind of the DARPA type programs where it's technology that you wouldn't know we had, but would hope we have. And so it's a fascinating field right now and extremely important to national security. And so I'm honored to be able to chair that committee. But I tell you, to me, it's almost like being in med school again. I'm studying more than I ever have, despite being on the committee for 8 years. I thought I knew a lot about it, but I didn't know what I didn't know till you have to actually, make the decisions on how you're basically dividing $90+ billion worth of assets to those different areas that we just spoke of, and it's with the China-Taiwan threat that's looming in the background. The Indo-PACOM region is very important in terms of having adequate assets for missile defense, and how do we deal with China if that threat occurs. And then we, of course, still have Russia, and we have an evolving axis of North Korea, Iran, Russia, and China kind of banding together. I don't know that they really like each other that much, but the enemy of the enemy is my friend. So there's this coalition we're concerned about, and there's just threats around the world that have evolved because of our weakened military, and our job is to strengthen it back to the Reagan years, where China doesn't want to go into Taiwan because they feel like they can't win, and we need to be the number one superpower in the world, and I hope people haven't lost sight of that. And so, a big part of my job is making sure we have the technology and the ability to make people not want to get in a fight with us.
Praise and glory. That's what we've been missing. And last question, are you still supporting our Tennessee boy, Pete Hegseth?
Pete, I think, is doing a better job. The fact that he's been in the crosshairs by the liberal left would tell you that, there's something about him they don't like, or they think he's an easy target. But I actually just asked that question yesterday. How is he doing? Is he going to survive? Because he's been taking so much heat. But I think that, it's never one person in the Department of Defense. There's a lot of smart people around them, a lot of generals and all that. And I think that Trump's approach was to bring in some new blood. He's a battle-tested veteran, and, we'll see. I look back to when Biden hired his cabinet and his people, and really there's nowhere to go but up. The bar was set so low. So I've not met I've met Pete Hegseth, talked to him briefly, but I've not had a sit-down meeting about all the issues I want to yet. And, we're working today. We're going to mark up the reconciliation bill for defense. I've got the Missile Defense Agency coming here right after this interview in about 3 minutes to talk about the hearing we're having tomorrow in strategic forces. So stay tuned. I'll be chairing hearings for each of the next 3 weeks on important topics surrounding defense. And it's going to be a busy time, as you mentioned at the beginning of the call, but I love it because so many times in Congress, especially when you're in the minority or there's Biden in the White House, you just beat your head against the wall because legislatively it's hard to get anything done. But I get up every morning knowing that we're going to do something that's important for the security of this country, and it's an honor to have that opportunity, and it feels good to be moving in the right direction again.
Well, that's great to hear because it feels good, Congressman Desjardins. It feels real good. So thank you. And I'm so excited about that subcommittee. That's a really, really big deal, and at least in my world. So thank you so much. And then hopefully we'll talk again in the future and talk about all the cool things that you guys are doing up there.
I'll look forward to it. Thank you.
I appreciate you, Congressman.
Pleasure to be on your show.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.